So, here's something to think about. Can a massive project actually stop a $1 trillion economic disaster? Imagine this. If something went wrong, entire industries could come to a standstill and millions of jobs could disappear. That's exactly what's at stake at the Soo Locks. This vital piece of infrastructure is getting old, and if it falls, the economic impact could be catastrophic. The Soo Locks are essential for keeping your economy running smoothly, especially for industries like steel that depend on them to transport key materials. But as these locks age, the risk of a major breakdown is increasing. So, in today's video, we'll discuss how this mega project might prevent such a disaster. How could it possibly stop a $1 trillion disaster? We'll explore that in a moment. The Soo Locks, located in Sault Ste Marie, Michigan, is run by the US Army Corps of Engineers. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly are locks? Think of them as water elevators for ships. These locks help vessels move between different water levels by lifting or lowering them, just like an elevator does. At the Soo Locks, they let ships navigate past a 21-foot water wall in the St. Mary's River, making it possible to travel smoothly between Lake Superior and the lower Great Lakes. So, the Soo Locks as we know them today were built in the mid-1800s, but the idea of using the natural currents in this area goes way back, long before European settlers arrived. The Ojibwe tribes who lived here used the rapids along the St. Mary's River to reach the chilly waters of Lake Superior. This spot in Michigan's Upper Peninsula has always been key for trade and commerce. When European settlers showed up, they kept using the rapids, and in 1797, they built the first lock on the St. Mary's River. Unfortunately, it was destroyed during the War of 1812 by American forces. It wasn't until the 1850s that Congress gave Michigan land to build a new lock system to make transportation between the Great Lakes easier. The very first lock, called the State Lock, was completed in 1855. Since then, more locks have been built to keep up with the growing needs. These locks are super important for the US economy, helping to move 75 million tons of cargo and 7,000 passengers every year. They play a key role in the steel industry since a big chunk of the country's iron ore passes through this narrow corridor. Right now, the Soo Locks have two main locks, the MacArthur Lock and the Poe Lock. These aren't just simple passageways, they're the backbone of the Great Lakes shipping system, making them crucial for the entire US economy. The Poe Lock, in particular, is a big deal because it handles the largest ships that carry iron ore and other important goods. This makes it an essential piece of the puzzle for industries all over the nation, especially steel manufacturing, which depends a lot on the iron ore that travels through these waters. If something were to go wrong with the Soo Locks, it would cause serious problems, not just around the Great Lakes, but across the entire economy. We're talking about disruptions in supply chains and industries everywhere. That's why keeping these locks running smoothly isn't just important for the economy, it's crucial for our national security. Back in 2015, the Department of Homeland Security looked into what could happen if the Poe Lock were to shut down for just 6 months. The findings were alarming. There could be a $1.1 trillion hit to the economy, and 11 million jobs could be lost across the country. This really shows how critical the Soo Locks are, not just for transportation, but for the safety and stability of the entire nation. The Soo Locks were originally built in the mid-1800s to solve a big problem: how to connect the vast resources of Lake Superior to the rest of the Great Lakes. This was a game-changer for American trade and set the stage for what would become a vital part of the US economy. But the story of the Soo Locks actually starts even earlier. Back in the 1700s, the Northwest Fur Company tried to build a lock on the St. Mary's River. Unfortunately, their efforts were cut short during the War of 1812, when American forces destroyed the lock to stop British trade. Fast forward to 1855, and the first US lock, called the State Lock, was finally built and operated by the state of Michigan. This ambitious project, along with the Erie Canal, marked a huge step forward in US engineering. It made it much easier to transport the resources that fueled America's industrial growth. As shipping needs grew, the Soo Locks had to expand to keep up. They added new locks over the years. The Weisel Lock, finished in 1881, was built to handle bigger ships, but it was eventually replaced by the MacArthur Lock in 1943. The MacArthur Lock played a key role during World War II, keeping supplies moving, and it's still in use today. In 1896, they introduced the Lock to handle even larger ships. It got a big upgrade in 1968 to accommodate even bigger vessels. The Davis Lock, completed in 1914, was once the longest lock in the world, built to support the growing commercial traffic. It had a twin, the Sabin Lock, built in 1919. However, both the Davis and the Sabin locks were retired in 2010 as technology and shipping needs changed. Over the years, these locks have adapted to meet the growing demand of maritime trade, ensuring that vital resources continue to flow smoothly across the Great Lakes. As we look ahead, it's clear that this old infrastructure is facing some serious challenges. The locks are aging, and the pressure from modern trade is only increasing. Right now, only 2 locks are in operation, the MacArthur Lock and the Poe Lock. The Poe Lock, which handles the biggest ships, was built way back in 1896. It's really starting to show its age, needing constant maintenance and repairs. Now, imagine what would happen if this lock had to shut down for maintenance, possibly for more than 6 months. The effects would be felt across the entire US economy. The steel industry, which depends on a steady supply of iron ore passing through these locks, would be hit hard with severe shortages. That's why building a new lock isn't just nice to have, it's an absolute must. This isn't just about maintaining the status quo, it's about transforming how we handle trade in today's fast-paced world. Take the Suez Canal, for example. It brings in $9.4 billion each year, and it's a key player in global trade. As online shopping and e-commerce continue to grow, the Soo Locks become even more important. The new lock being proposed is expected to prevent a potential $1.1 trillion economic disaster. It's set to replace the old Sabin and Davis locks, which will help solve the current issue. Once the new lock is built, it will allow the Poe Lock to get a much-needed upgrade. When everything is done, the Soo will have 2 1,200-foot locks, boosting its capacity and making the whole system more efficient. The construction of the new Soo Locks is happening in 3 main stages, each focusing on different improvements to make the Soo Locks work better. The first stage is kicked off on May 4, 2020, and it was all about deepening the channel leading up to the locks. By making the water deeper, from 24 feet to 30 feet, larger, modern ships can safely approach the new lock. This part of the project wrapped up in August 2022, and the best part, it was finished ahead of time and under budget, initially expected to cost $922 million. Now, we're in the second stage, which is focused on making the walls around the approach stronger to support these big ships. They're building new walls so that ships can wait securely before passing through the lock. By mid-2023, they'd already placed a lot of concrete caps, and more work is ongoing. This stage is expected to be done by summer 2024. In this final stage, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of building the new lock chamber and all the infrastructure that comes with it. This means taking down the old Sabin lock, digging into the bedrock, and putting up new floors and walls for the chamber. They're also getting miter gates and setting up a hands-free mooring system to make things more efficient. There's a lot of electrical work involved, plus we'll be fixing up the downstream approach walls too. This phase is a big deal, with a price tag of about $1.07 billion, and it's expected to wrap up by summer 2030. Along the way, the project is set to create around 1,200 jobs each year, with a strong focus on using American-made and mined products. No wonder it's such a huge project, and like any big endeavor, it comes with a lot of challenges. One of the biggest issues is the rising construction costs. Originally, the project was estimated to cost $922 million, but now it's nearly tripled to about $3.2 billion. This spike is mainly because of inflation and the increased cost of materials, which is affecting construction projects all over the country. Another major hurdle is the shortage of skilled workers. It's a common problem in many industries right now and has caused delays and driven up the costs even more. On top of that, funding is a constant challenge. The US Army Corps of Engineers is working hard to secure the necessary funds each year to keep the project moving forwards, but they still need an extra $629 million just to stay on schedule. Keeping the current locks running while building the new one is super important. It takes careful planning to make sure shipping traffic flows smoothly without any major hiccups, because if a lock were to close, it could seriously hurt the economy. But it's not just about keeping things moving. There are also some pretty big environmental and logistical challenges to tackle. The construction involves some tough jobs, like digging up lots of land, tearing down old structures, and putting in new systems. These tasks need to be done in a way that keeps the environment safe and ensures the workers and passing ships are protected. Even with these challenges, the project is moving forward. The Soo Locks are getting a massive upgrade that could change the game for US shipping and have a big impact on our economy. This huge project is set to tackle the problem of the old POLOC and make sure our trade routes stay strong for the future. What do you think? Can this new lock avoid a $1 trillion economic disaster and protect the future of US trade? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.